starting lineups at this time on the Bomber offense this evening. Number 89, Clarence Allen, will be starting at tight end. Number 63, William Martin, will be at the left tackle. Number 71, Chad Stone, left guard. Number 67, Brandon Phillips, will be the center. Number 79, Kirk Wilson, will be right guard. 68, Shea Woodall, will be the right tackle. Number 11, Greg Hilburn, will be split out most of the time this evening. Number 25, Jay Carpenter, will be alternating there. Ty Simmons, along with Marshall, will be doing the wingback and slot back. Sidney Gaston will be the quarterback. Number 15, Ryan Ben, number 1, will be one of the split halfbacks, or the tailback. And 21, Kevin Isham, will be one of the split backs as well, alternating with Tony Wiley in there. The Sulphur Bulldogs have come onto the field and run through their victory line. The Frederick Bombers are poised to come onto the field. Bombers dressed in their red helmets, lightning bolts on the side, red home jerseys, and black pants, white socks, black shoes. As they are poised to run through the banner on the north end, the Bombers will be kicking, and they will be defending the south goal, and the Sulphur Bulldogs will be receiving as they won the toss, and they will be defending the north goal. The wind will be a factor this evening as it has died somewhat, but it will still be blowing south-north in this stadium, and the Sulphur Bulldogs will be receiving. Let's take a 30-second timeout. You're listening to KYB 95.9 in Frederick. We'll take 30 seconds, and we'll be back here in Frederick with the kickoff.
To try to put a good team like this away.
The kicking for the Frederick Bombers will be, looks like Ryan Ben is going to kick there. No, it looks like Blake Bolton will be kicking off. Hadn't seen Blake Bolton kicking off yet this year, so Blake is going to do the kickoff chores this evening. And back deep will be Cole. And also looks like number 4 back there, which will, I believe that's Clarence Freeman, 180 senior from Sulphur. So we're ready to tee this thing up and get ready to start this ball game as Blake Bolton is about to get the signal. It's right at 7:30, and we're underway here in Frederick. There's a deep kick. It will travel into the end zone and will not be brought out. As Freeman went back to get it, it went into the end zone, and now the end zone it was aided by that wind, and the Bombers will be on defense first, with Sulphur having first shot on offense.
My good way.
Cole will be starting at quarterback, and Freeman will be at the fullback, and Russell Hobbs will be the tailback as they come in split receiver to the left. Cole comes on the option and comes over the left side and is met after about a 2-yard gain. Cleet Cole, as we said before, very, very tough young man, and he was running the option in and was able to get ahead for about 2. One of the Sulphur Bulldogs is shaken up a little bit. That's number 71, Chad Gilbert. He was shaken up on that play, and looks like he will be replaced. Looked like he might have turned an ankle or something there, Alan.
Mike, don't know what happened. Good job of defense in by the Frederick Bombers. Cleet Cole runs the option well. Tried to go to the outside. Bombers were right there waiting on him.
And there will be an official timeout. And number 31, Cleet Cole. Cleet is a 6'2", 202 senior, and we thought he was one of the best players we saw last year in the semifinal contest. He hands off to Chance Freeman right up the middle, and Chance will be stopped short in there after a very little gain. Let's give him about 1.5 yards, and that will bring up about a 3rd down and 6 as we're 11.
Short game, about 1 yard.
Chad Stone, Dusty Blankenship doing a good job in there along with the linebacking core. And there's a reverse back as they hand off to number 33 on the reverse. That's Jeremy Owens, and Jeremy Owens comes around, looked like he might have an opening for second, and he's shut down immediately by the defensive line. And that will bring up a 4th down. Let's call it a long 5, short 6.
Mike, I tell you what they did. Sulphur didn't fool anybody that time. Tried the little reverse type play, and the Bomber defense just hammered him. Got to the ball real quick.
Ball will be resting between the 24 and 25-yard line. There's a snap. It's back. Gets off the kick. Ball will hit about the 47-yard line and stops immediately, as it will be put down right at the 47-yard line as we look across. And 23-yard kick, as our able statistician says. Alan, thank goodness for these yard markers here.
You bet. It makes it awfully nice, doesn't it?
You can actually see where the ball is, and Kagi doing the play-by-play, Alan Gann on the commentary, and John Stevens is doing our stats as the Bombers take over 1st and 10. Sidney Gasson looking on the right at it, has a twin set there, hands off to Ryan Penn over the right side, and he is met after about a 2-yard gain. And that will bring up a 2nd and 8 as he struggles to the, and we'll see where they put it down. They may even mark it a little shorter than that. Let's give him a yard, possibly a yard and a half. As the
thing to lose by losing, and they are fired up. They did a good job on defense.
Marshall comes to the left. Simmons in the slot. No score in the ball game. This is the first offensive possession for the Bombers. Gasson goes out to throw, throws to Marshall incomplete at the 38-yard line. Pass just a little bit tall for Mr. Marshall, and that will bring up a 3rd down, and let's call it long 8, short 9, or long 9, short 8.
That Mikey
are out there, and that was number 2, Mitchell Mogul, had been playing off pretty good. Let's bring up let's call it 3rd and 8 as Gaston looks over the defense, comes back to Ben, trying to go on a counter play back to the left, and he's met right at the line or behind the line, and it will go for naught. Much the same type of play that the Bombers were able to stop on the 3rd down play, and it will bring up a 4th and 11, and the Bombers look like they're about to punt as Bolton comes in the game.
Mike, I tell you what, anybody, Sulphur defense right there.
Cervantes is the young man as the kick is off, a very, very high kick, goes short and will be killed. No, they pick it up. And that will be number 30, James Poland, as Poland was going up to look like he might touch the punt, and then he picked it up right at the 44-yard line and was met immediately by Bolton and some of the other Bombers. Short kick as that ball
for coach had a little heart murmur right there.
Well, the Sulphur Bulldogs come up with very good field position as they're at their own 49-yard line. Clay tries to follow the first back through, and he will be stopped after a short gain. And that was a situation where he faked the fullback and then tried to follow him straight through the hole and bring up a 2nd and 8 as they, that's not the 49, that will be, looks like about 46.
Up about a yard and a half on the play.
So the ball is at the 46 rather than the 49. The 46 of the Sulphur Bulldogs, as Cole again running the option, has some running room around the left side, and will get very close to a 1st down as he fakes the first back through and then takes it on around the left side, and looks like he will have the 1st down yardage.
Mike, that's the danger we have to watch. Cleek Cole is so effective optioning that ball.
Better overall athletes that we saw the entire season last year. Receivers to the right and the left, eye in the backfield as Cole looks over the Frederick defense. It's 1st and 10, ball resting just across the 45-yard line. Cole following the first back through, and he will be met this time as Cole trying to provide most of the offense, and he's met right at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
Mike, that's the way defense is played. I tell you what, you got to give the Bomber line credit. They didn't fool anybody. They held their
most offense himself. He's faking the ball and following the back, and then also optioning. The Sulphur Bulldogs in a slot to the left side as Cole fakes the handoff up the middle, goes around the left side, and will be again forward for a very good gain. It's we'll see where they mark it, but he's down to about the 42-yard line, and bring up about a 3rd and 4. And there's 6:09.
The Bomber defense stayed with him. However, he did make a good gain on that last play.
3rd and 4 as the Bulldogs were 3 and out in their first possession, and they hand off. He's open right up to the middle to the 25, down to the 20, still on his feet, and he'll be dropped down right at the 20, and that was number 3 for the Bulldogs, and thought that was Chance Freeman, but that's number 7. Will it be checked that? They'll be Russell Hobbs, as he spurted right at, begun to move the ball here. Right when we talked about Cleco being the man carrying the ball, Hobbs comes through with the big play. Cole fakes the handoff up the middle again. No, he is going to be tackled up the middle, and that will bring up a short gain, and we'll see where they spot it. Looks like they're going to give him a yard, and he'll be down to about the 19-yard line. That was Freeman on the carry, gain of about 1.
The ball when he doesn't.
And they are putting pressure on that interior line of the Bombers. There's a timeout called as the officials rush in, and we'll see if it's an official timeout. We'll see if there's an infraction. Looks like the Bombers may have lined up in the neutral zone, and it appears they will be talking to Sulphur, but the way they came in there, and the Sulphur Bulldogs clapping their hands, and it probably is going to be a 5-yard penalty against the Bombers. And instead of a 2nd and 9, it's going to bring up a 2nd and 4 situation.
Let Sulphur score first, and they're sure going to think they're going to win the ball game.
Interior line shifts over to the strong side. Handoff back to the weak side as Hobbs is still on his feet and will be close down to the 10-yard line as Russell Hobbs, number 7, a 5'9", 166 senior, is stopped short of the first down. In fact, it'll be about 2 yards. Bring up a Cleco. The Bulldogs taking a long time as they break the eye. Hobbs is a long back in the backfield, taking a long time. Cleco up to the line. Hands off. No, keeps the ball himself, and he will be very close to the first down as he put the ball in Hobbs' stomach and then pulled it back out. Was met right at the line of scrimmage, was able to struggle forward, and we'll see where they mark it as officials are looking it over at this time.
Mike, once again, you saw Cole execute that handoff so well. Looks like it's short of the first down, but the ball was still in the running back's belly when the Bomber defensive player hit him. He pulled it out and just almost made him.
The Sulphur Bulldogs were asking for a measurement, so we'll see if that measurement is justified, and it will be 4th down and a little bit longer than a foot. So 4th down situation, the ball is right at the 10-yard line. Touchdown. Looks like the Bulldogs want a timeout, and the Bulldogs will go their sideline. The Bombers will come to this sideline, and we'll take a 30-second timeout with no score in the ball game. Bulldogs threatening. You're listening to KYB 95.9 in Frederick.
Dennis Williams.
Him being a sponsor. It's 4th down, about a foot, as Cleco comes up to the line, looking over the defense, handing off to number 4. It's going to be very close as Cleco really never pulled the ball out, and he and the number 4, Chance Freeman, kind of lunged forward together. Bombers jumping up and down. This is going to be one of those spots, whether it's a left foot or right foot spot, Alan.
I'll tell you what, Mike, it's going to be close. They're going to measure the ball. Didn't get much yardage, but they didn't need much yardage. If the spot was good, the Bombers, I think they held them. Sulphur thinks they made it. It's going to be awfully close.
Last week we called one of these, and it was good by about a big piece of paper. So the Bombers say that it is short, and the Bombers on a 4th and 1 have turned the Bulldogs back and thwarted the drive where the Bulldogs had driven all the way left in the first quarter. We're going to take a radio timeout. We'll take 1 minute. You're listening to KYB 95.9 in Frederick.
Hi, member SCIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
And a big defensive stand as the Bombers have drawn back the Bulldogs, and they're on offense, and they give it off straight ahead to, looks like it's handed off straight ahead to Ryan Ben, and he will get very short yardage as the interior of that defensive line is very tough for the Bulldogs.
See what, Mike? Tough running up the middle that time.
Left in the first quarter, there is no score, and the Bombers are down around their, looks like now about the 12, 13-yard line, as they have stopped the Sulphur Bulldogs and had the ball in offense heading straight up the middle to Isham, and he fights straight forward for some pretty good yardage. Just give him 3 or 4 yards, and we'll see where they mark the ball. Looks like to be around about the 17, and he gets out of their own territory. Ball be down resting right around across the 15, and the Bombers will need to get across to 20, about the 21 to get this first down. Back out to Isham around the 20, 25, 30, and Isham for a second looked like he might be able to go all the way, but number 7 for the Bulldogs, number 7, Russell Hobbs, was able to dive at his feet and get him just long enough to knock him down, but not until he
called there by the Frederick coaching staff. Tossed the ball outside on the quick pitch. Kevin just outran him around the end. Excellent run.
Marshall to the right, or to the left, Simmons to the right. Split backfield. Option play as good fake in there as Sidney Gaston does. Good fake in there to Ben, and then keeps the ball, but he's met by the defensive end. And good play, but just able to gain 2 yards.
That's right, Mike. He fooled everybody but the defense.
Position, and that's what both of these teams are doing tonight. As we approach the end of the first quarter, there is no score. Bombers on their own 34-yard line. Gaston goes back to pass, throwing to Marshall at the 40, 45, 46, down to the 47-yard line. Jason Marshall on a quick pass out to the left as he was split out, and he faked the cornerback out and is able to get forward for good yardage and a first down.
Mike, excellent catch. Jason
brings up 1st and 10, the ball resting at the 47-yard line in Bomber territory as they are answering back in the closing seconds of this first quarter. Gaston hands off up the middle, this time to Ryan Ben, and Ryan goes close to the 50-yard line. And as they spot it down, they'll spot it just shy as the nose almost touching the 50-yard line brings up a 2nd and 7.
My good job, but up to this point, nothing about it's been easy.
Big nose guard for the big interior lineman for the Sulphur defense, 63 Pittman, 55 Collier. Option play to Ben, comes to the 50, to the 45, to the 40, and they'll mark him out of bounds at the 41-yard line, just short of the 40-yard line, and that was a well-executed option play. That will be good for the first down. And the Bombers are playing much, much better than they have in the previous last 2 games.
Tell you what, Mike, Frederick's getting the ball outside, moving it, making yardage now.
There's Gaston on the fumble on the play. Is number 21. He's picked it up. He's at 50. He's to the 40, 35, 20. Isham trying to run him down. He runs him down at the 25, 24-yard line. And the Bombers trying to run the option play. Bad exchange on the halfback coming through. The ball just laid there for a minute. Number 21, that was Reggie Dixon for the Sulphur Bulldogs, picks the ball up as it lays there and races 40 yards. And if it wasn't for Kevin Isham, he would have gone all the way.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike, that ball looked to me, it just seemed like it laid on the ground for an eternity. Finally, no Bombers anywhere near. Sulphur boy picks it up, takes off with it. Kevin comes from quite a ways behind and runs him down to save him from scoring the touchdown.
And that play will end the first quarter. There is no score as the Sulphur Bulldogs get a break here right at the end of the first quarter. Let's take a 30-second timeout. We'll be back with the second quarter. You're listening. They were moving the ball, and with that fumble, they're going to have to defend. They're on the end of the field. Ball resting 21. No score in the contest as Cole looks over the defense, handing off in there to number 7, straight up the middle. 10, 15, 5, touchdown. As number 7, Russell Hobbs, goes over the left side, and it looked like he was going to be tackled after about 3 or 4 yard gain, and he kept his speed and made it all the way to the end zone. Looks like William Martin is shaking up a little bit on the play, but just hard running there, Alan.
Tell you what, Mike, looked like one Bomber had him in the backfield, tried to arm tackle him, couldn't bring him down with that. He just kept driving those legs on the misdirection play, runs the ball all the way into the end zone.
So the Sulphur Bulldogs, after that fumble recovery, converted for 6 points. Ruben Cervantes is up. The kick is up after a good snap, and the referees say it's good, and Cervantes will make that kick start the first play of the second quarter. Let's take a 30-second timeout, and we'll be back with the kickoff. Be kicking from his 40. Bulldogs are, after the quarter change, defending the south goal, and they'll be kicking from the south to the north or from the right to the left as we look at it. Back deep for the Bombers is number 3, Blake Bolton, and number 1, Ryan Ben. 11:53 in the second quarter as Sulphur's kick is taken at the 5, back to 10, 15, 20. Ben has an opening up to 25, 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 10, 5. Touchdown. Do not see any flags as the Bombers.
Boy,
That's the way it is.
Tell you what, Mike.
One play, and they're back in the ballgame.
Excellent run back. He found that hole up the opening. Good job of blocking by the kickoff return team. You could have drove a truck, I believe, through the middle of that line then. Kevin just gets in the open and flat out ran everybody on the Sulphur team.
Folks, I'm trying to turn the excitement up just a little bit. Some people said I wasn't excited enough. If I get too excited, you tell me. Fantastic run as he took that ball around the 5 and 10 and raced 90 or 93 yards. We're going to say it's 88 yards officially as he took that, I guess, around the 12 and was able to race all the way down. William Martin about to do the kicking chores. Bombers behind 7-6. There's a snap, kick up. Kick kicks up, and it's good. It looks like, and it is good as a referee signal. And just like that, we've had a tremendous second quarter. It's 11:39 in the second quarter, and we've had 2 touchdowns in 14 seconds or so.
I'll tell you what, Mike, we're going to make it interesting tonight.
Frederick back live at Bomber Bowl, and folks, if you went to the restroom or went to the refrigerator for about 21 seconds or so, you missed 2 touchdowns. So welcome back as it's 7-7, 11:39 left in the first or second quarter, and Bolton ready to kick off after an electrifying, as the statisticians tell us now, it was a 94-yard kickoff return. Bolton's kick hits at the 15 and will roll to about the 14 as it's coming straight up the middle to number 4, and he's hit immediately around the 20-yard line, and that would be number 4 is Chance Freeman as he took the ball around the 10 to the left side and was able to get back to middle field around the 20. So after 2 very exciting plays.
Job of getting down the field in by the Bomber defense. Now let's see if they can turn it up a notch, hold them and get the ball back. 2 receivers are left as Cole comes around the left side. Good opening. Cole at the 30, 35, 40. And we'll go all the way down to the 44, 43 as they spot it now. Looks like the official's going to spot it there. And folks, if you didn't think this was a #1 game in the state, think something again. It is the #1 game in the state. 2 very fine. All at its finest tonight. Both teams, excellent ball teams, and I think there's a lot of exciting football left ahead of us tonight.
Ball resting on the 43-yard line. 7-7 here in the second quarter. Handoff back to number 7 again, Russell Hobbs, and Hobbs spins and twists his way close to the 45-yard line, and that will bring up a second down, and let's call it 8 yards as Hobbs, 2nd and 8, ball resting just short of the 45 in Sulphur Bulldog territory. Cole goes back to pass, looks across the middle, and will be incomplete. Number 4 fell down. Looks like there was incidental contact. The pass was not catchable anyway, I don't believe.
No, Mike, they got their feet tangled up. They kind of were looking for a flag, but it was sure not intentional. He ran a crossing pattern, kind of tripped over each other, and the pass was incomplete.
Pass intended for number. Allen looked for that tailback play again. The first time they've seen a power eye, as they're in a power eye with the halfback in the backfield. Option play to Cleek Cole as he comes around the right side, has some running room, and will be close to the first down. It appears where they spotted. Look, Cole doing a very good job on the option.
Mike, I tell you what, he's a talented athlete. We knew coming into the ball game tonight, if you stop Cleek Cole, you pretty well stop Sulphur. He is there.
Hard, just enough for the first and down, a 1st and 10, and it will be Ball resting just around the 46-yard line as Cole again on the option goes around the right side and is good for 5 and keeps struggling forward and may get down close to the first down. Will be short. Let's give him about 8, 7 or 8.
Mike, once again, you saw a good option, got outside, good hard running. Bomber defense going to have to toughen it up.
2, the ball just across the 40 around the 39 in Bomber territory. Slot to the left, I formation in the back, hand off to Hobbs up the middle. Good running room to the 20, 15, and will be taken down from behind by Isham again on a touchdown saving
play,
tackle.
Mike.
We don't want to be biased, but sure would be nice if that was a holding play, a holding penalty.
Why, it's got to be. What else could it be?
We won't pull any bones, folks. We are the Frederick Bomber radio announcers. Mike Hagee, Alan Gann. I'm the superintendent at Frederick Schools. I am biased. And Alan, you're an ardent fan, an ardent fan, or whatever you are.
Besides that, I've looked quite a lot of officials over, and I don't think any of them are smart as you and I are.
Well, that's not really. I just want him to say anything more about that. But nevertheless, with all that, it will be a holding penalty, and that's a big break for the Bombers, as that was at the 42, 43-yard line break for the Bombers. Let's see if they can take advantage of it and stop one of these options or one of these formation power plays. There's the option play around the left to Hobbs, and Hobbs is met after the pitch. And it will be for short yardage. Just give him about 1.5, brings up a third down situation.
Tell you what, Mike, that's what the Bomber defense has to do every play. Good job of pursuing the ball. They stayed in their position.
Woodall did a very good job. This is a very pivotal third down. Cole looks at, fakes up the middle, trying to follow the back up the middle, will be stopped short, I believe, of the first down, as he just tried to follow his first back through, and that was Freeman. He tried to follow him through the hole, and the Bombers shut him down there. The interior of the line, number 71, Stone, along there with Williams, and the linebacking core doing a very good job.
A lot better game.
And that will bring up a 4th down and 2, and it appears that the Bulldogs may try to punt this or try to draw the Bombers off. The Bombers aren't going to be fooled. They do not have even a receiver back. Now Bolton, it is a fake, and he will be stopped short, and there's also a fumble on the play, so we'll read it. It was the fake, as if they have enough yardage, it may be a first down. They did fumble, but the Bulldogs recovered on the fumble. And with about 3 breaks there, they may have the first down. It's going to be very, very close. It looks like they may have it, Alan.
Mike, it sure does. You know, a lot of times it's hard to tell from up here, but I hope not. But it sure does look like they've got the first down.
That was a fake punt. The Bombers did not bite. But actually the fumble aided the Sulphur Bulldogs, as they were stopped short and they fumbled it forward. And if they pick it up, it'll be by virtue of the fumble, and they do by about a yard. Big break for the Bulldogs.
Mike, they had him held, looked like you said, the fumble squirted forward for just enough.
After that last break, they were able to score a touchdown. We'll see if the Bombers can regroup here and keep pushing the Bulldogs back. Cole comes up as he fakes that fullback up the middle, or that back up the middle, and then turns up right behind him. And he will gain fairly good yardage, about 4 yards, as he turns up, brings up a 2nd down and 6.
Mike, I don't know.
I don't think he ever wore down, but it will be a 2nd and we'll call it 6. Ball resting around the 33-yard line in Bomber territory as Cole goes back to pass. It's going to be overthrown and incomplete. Do not see any flags, so that will be incomplete and will bring up a 3rd down and 6 as Cole went back trying to pass and overthrew.
Really, I don't think anybody's been disappointed.
Dixon goes to the left, Freeman out to the right. Freeman the favorite target. A quarterback draw up the middle as Cole tries to fake everyone out, go straight ahead on the quarterback draw. He will be short of the first down by about 2 yards. And that will bring up another 2nd down or 4th down situation about the same amount of yardage they needed last time, and they went for the fake punt.
Right, Mike. Excellent job again by the Bomber defense. They stayed home, kind of a little.
Cole up to the line of scrimmage. Cole, a 6'2", 202 senior, very talented young man, taking a lot of time. Bombers need to stop him here. Handoff right up the middle, and it appears that he's going to be very close. John Stevens to our left says that he got it. As he looks across at the clock, he negotiated the 25-yard line, which should be good for the first down. And Hobbs goes straight ahead, and indeed the officials say it is good for the first down. Ball to
going right down the middle of the field with his short yardage at a time.
Cole coming up the line, looking over the defense. Two receivers to the right, faking the handoff, keeping it now, and he will be drugged down for a loss. And Allen, that was number 68, Shea Woodall.
Excellent job, Mike. That's what Clay has been needing to do all year long, is step up, play to the level that he was playing at last year, and he showed it right there on that play.
And I was correct. The ball just across the 30-yard, about the 28-yard line, 2nd and 13, as Cole looks over, has slot to the left. Cole coming out to his left, looks down deep toward the end zone, and it will be incomplete as number 24 was down there. That was Ruben Cervantes for the Bulldogs. Looked like he might have tried to get a penalty there as he just
Mike,
fell down.
I think there's a lot of theatrics involved. He knew he wasn't going to catch the ball. He was covered real well.
Here in the Bomber Bowl, you're listening to KYB 95.9 in Frederick.
You should go to...
This will bring up a 3rd and 13. Slot to the right. Our twin receivers out to the right. Power I in the backfield as Cole hands off up the middle on straight ahead, and he goes ahead for very good yardage. And I believe that will be number 4, Chance Freeman, as he gets up.
Tell you what, Mike, there.
I believe that was Owens as they spot. The Bombers need to stop him here as 16 plays so far in this drive, and Cole has negotiated a couple of fourth down, very important fourth down situations. He's back to pass, throwing the screen pass to the right. It's open as it goes to number 4. He's down to the 10-yard line, and that will be very close, and it will be good enough for the first down. Do not see any flags. And that was complete to Chance Freeman out there on the screen pass as Cole came back, and the screen pass is wide open. He'll be good enough for a first down. At the 12, Bulldogs converting 3 fourth down plays in a row, and that's the difference in maintaining these drives as they start the 17th play. Cole looks over the defense, hands to the tailback right up the middle over the left side, and he will be stopped for short yardage, and that was Hobbs.
Much better line than Mike by the Bomber defense. They shut the hole down inside, held their ground, and held him to maybe a yard and a half.
Most of this second quarter in this drive. Ball resting right at the 10-yard line. Bombers need to come up with a defensive play. There's option to the left, and he is met on a tremendous play by number 21, Rodney Isham. That would be Cleek Cole, met right to the line of scrimmage.
I bet Rodney wishes he could make a tackle like that, but Kevin did a lot better job of it than Rodney would have.
Well, let's see. Last week I gave Rodney credit for 1 run, and Rodney get credit for 1 tackle, but
whoever it was, he did make an excellent tackle.
That'll be a 3rd and 7 as Kevin Isham doing a great job coming up. Cole goes back to pass, looking toward the end zone. Broken up, and it's going to be intercepted as the ball was tipped and went up in the air, and it looks like it's going to be intercepted. We'll see where they mark it. Very close to the goal line, and 2 of the Bombers went after it. And did you read which one it was by any chance?
No, I didn't.
Twice in very deep territory. So 141 left to go in the half, and they're at their own 1-yard line. Gaston there to take the snap. Bombers need to get it out of here. And Gaston hands off to Isham straight ahead. Thought for a minute he was trying to pull that ball out, and it scared me.
I'll tell you what, Mike, he did the right thing. He gave it to his strong runner, and he picks up about 5 yards on the play. Good.
The second quarter, they need to pick up the first 10 and burn this clock. And we'd let them go ahead and go for about 95 yards, wouldn't we?
Be fine with me, Mike.
Handoff again. Isham comes to the left. He's got a man holding on down to the 15 or 16-yard line, And I'll tell you, that was number 64 for the Bulldog defense. That was Alvin Bone. I tell you what, if he hadn't held on, I was about to be a prophet.
I'll tell you what,
he was gone all the way. Kevin Isham was one tackle from going all the way. The ball will be out to about the 16 now as the Bombers need to hold on to this thing. Gaston goes back to pass. Throws a deep, deep pass intended for, looks like there might have been a busted pattern. It was intended for Marshall, but ends up being falling way short of him. It looked like maybe we were trying to call it the 17-yard line. Bulldogs up to the line on defense. Gaston on the draw as Isham holding that ball. Oh, that was scary, Alan. Oh, that was scary as he gets ahead for good yardage, but he was holding that ball kind of like a loaf of bread for me.
Mike, looked like they tripped him up. He was trying to use one free hand from going down, tried to hold himself up, kind of just like you said, kind of holding the ball like a loaf of bread. But however good.
The second quarter, it's 7-7, brings up a 3rd and 3, and we have 24 seconds left in the first half. It's 7-7. The Bombers deep in their own territory, right at the 25-yard line, just across the 25-yard line. 3rd and 3, trying to close out this first half and use up all the time or maybe even get something going. There's a pitch to the right to Ben coming 35, has enough for the first down and will be nudged out as they spot it around the 38, almost the 39-yard line. They'll be good enough for the first down. Bombers will still have 19 seconds. Coach Jones is not going to just run the clock out. He's trying to get some more points.
Mike, you bet against this time, this can score before half if he can.
Gaston looking over the defense. Sulphur Bulldogs have good size and quickness, and throws out here to Marshall at the right side. He's going to be tackled after about a 9-yard gain. Timeout on the field. And that will be very close to the first down as it was just a quick pass out to Marshall on the right side as he was split there.
Whoa. Tell you what, look at the spot here, Mike.
Boy, we went from close here, Chief, in the second quarter right before the half. Oh, here's a special play. Special play that as we have all the linemen out to the right, there's Ryan Dean to the right behind the center, and they snapped it to him, and he's tackled right there. And it'll be timeout.
Well, that one didn't work, Mike.
If you're not used to much football or haven't watched a lot of football, you know, every once in a while there's tripped the Bulldogs out of the end zone twice as when they got deep and only giving up that one score. So with 7 seconds left, Ryan Dean, now quarterback, goes around the left side, and he's going to keep the ball, and he will be knocked down right at the 40-yard line. And that will be the end of the first half. We're in Frederick. We're going to take a 2-minute timeout.
In his spare time.
What, that was really special. John Stevens, our statistician, now has the halftime statistics.
Yeah, Mike, we'll start out with Sulphur Bulldogs. Sulphur Bulldogs have carried rush for 129 yards, and that's on 26 carries. Clete Cole is the leading rusher for the Sulphur Bulldogs with 16 carries and 70 yards. Clete Cole also in the passing department has attempted to pass 5 times. He completed 1 for 10 yards. He had 1 intercepted for a total first half offensive yardage of 139 yards. Frederick Bombers, Ryan Ben has rushed the ball, carried the ball 8 times for 20 yards. Sidney Gaston's carried the ball once for 2 yards. Kevin Isham leading the Bombers, rushing with 5 rushes for 41 yards. Total rushes, 14 attempts for 63 yards. Sidney Gaston is 2 of 4 in the passing department for 22 yards. He has not been intercepted. Jason Marshall has been the recipient of both passes. He has 2 receptions for 22 yards. Bombers first down, first half, 6. Sulphur has 7 first downs. Penalties.
Dogs, and both of these teams are getting ready to come back out on the field. Let's take a minute timeout, and we'll be back with the kickoff for the second half. You're listening to KYB 95.9 Frederick Bomber Football. One, Clarence Allen, one of the short men, along with number 5 for the Bombers will be, that's Millard Parks, I believe, down there, also one of the short men standing on about the 20-yard line. Kicking off for the Sulphur Bulldogs, have number 4 will be Chance Freeman as he kicks off this time in place of Salters, who kicked off last time for them after the touchdown. So they'll be teeing this up at the 40-yard line, and we're ready to start the second half. It's 7-7 as we start this second half and try to play this thing hopefully to a Bomber win. Bombers will need to take this kickoff and do something with it, and let's just go ahead and we'll take another kickoff return.
Be fine with me, Mike. We've shown we can do it, and it'd sure tickle me if we'd do it again.
Freeman kicks off deep, and the ball will be taken around the 10. That will be Bolton as he brings it up around the 20-25 across to the 27-yard line, right straight up the middle. And might have been some words exchanged on that, but a flag is thrown in the air, and it may be only 2 players. There was Bolton and the young man that tackled him, and Sulphur is pointing toward the Frederick Bombers as he got negotiated his way up to about the 29, and it will be a 15-yard penalty against Bombers, and that is not a good way to start the second half.
Boy, Mike, it's not. Good field position up close to the 30-yard line. And
Get up on the first down, and that will be first, and the ball be rushing right at the 15. And they haven't said it yet as they're still trying to move the yard markers, and they'll be close to a first and 25 yards. And Bombers have pretty good field position up around 30. Now they're back around their 15. Very costly penalty.
You bet, Mike. Not only that first and 25, that makes it double hard to get.
Gaston looking over the defense. Hands off to Isham as he's tripped up. And that would be number 21, tripping him up for the defense, and that was Dixon and also Owens in there as they got his feet down. Look, for a minute, he might have a one-on-one with the cornerback out here, but they were able to trip him up. Brings up a second down and 20 as they give him 5. Hands off up the middle to Ben as Ben makes good yardage. But remember that rather than have a first and 10, the Bombers had a first and 25 after that penalty, and Ryan Ben's able to take the ball up to the
right here to get the Bombers back rolling.
And twin receivers come out to the left. That's Marshall and Simmons. Twin receivers to the right. Lone setback is Isham. And Gaston goes back to pass, pumps, and it will be complete, but it will be short of the first down. That's complete to Marshall as he curled back around the 32, 33 yard line, and the Bombers were able to pick up around 7 and a punting situation. And rather than being able to drive the ball down and get some 1st and 10s, they're going to have to kick off or punt this ball and give it back to the Bulldogs, who's controlled it the 2nd quarter. Bolton is back to kick. Kick is going to be a short kick, and will stop around the 42-yard line down in Sulphur Bulldog territory, as there was no play on the punt.
Mike, not only did they not overcome that, it gives the Sulphur Bulldogs very good field position to start their drive.
And they will start their drive in their own territory, 42-yard line. Cole has been the key. Hands off on a reverse and a pass, and he is wide open. Number 21, it will be overthrown on a reverse pass, incomplete. And I'll guarantee you, number 21 was wide open. That was Dixon, as they handed off back to incomplete down around the 10-yard line. As it does, it falls incomplete, brings up a 2nd and 10. The ball resting at 42. Power I for the Bulldogs, as Cleek Cole again follows that back, and it's not really an option. It's like he tries to hand off, and then he pulls it back and goes over about the guard. And they're going to give him about 1.5 yards, let's say 2 yards. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 8. And the Bombers must stop the Bulldogs from converting some of the
whole Sulphur right where they're at, make them kick the ball off and take the ball back over.
Cervantes goes to the right, slot right. Cole goes back to pass. He's under some pressure, gets out of the pressure, and throws. It's going to be complete to Cervantes, and he will have the 1st and 10 as he is dropped down around, it appears to be about the 41-yard line. And Cole was in trouble, dodged one tackle, and it was very much a ball control offense. And that was good scrambling by Cole then. Was able to find the receiver as he scrambled. Cole hands off to Hobbs straight off the right side. He still has, looked like he might jump out to the right side as he hit the middle and was stopped in there very short and tried to bounce outside and was tackled from behind.
Right, Mike. Good job then of closing down by the front.
Woodall and Blankenship and Johnson and Cheyenne Clark doing a good job, but Bulldog just consistently getting that yardage. And Cole goes around the left side, as that's really not an option. It's more like a quarterback keep around the left side, and he will work forward for pretty good yardage, about 6 yards from his 41 down to just inside the 35-yard line.
Been successful at it all night.
3rd and 4 in the 3rd quarter, 7-7, as the Dogs are driving here. Again, the option play. Cole is met at the line of scrimmage. He will get no gain, as he is met by Isham and Clark and a host of Bombers as they defense the first back, and they're able to get Cole. And we got a 4th down. The Bombers need a hold here.
Right, Mike. It's
going to be, looks like it's going to be charged against the Sulphur Bulldogs. And we're going to take a 30-second timeout. It's 7-7 here at Frederick. 6:35 in the 3rd quarter. You're listening to KYB 95.9 in Frederick. The Bombers need to stop them here and with some decent field position to be able to move the ball.
You bet, Mike. They've been successful at it all night long. Let's see what the Bomber defense can do here.
As slot to the left. Cole goes back to pass, has plenty of time. Now he's going to have some pressure. He's going to be sacked, as he's sacked in there by Woodall along. I want to make sure we give these young men credit as they unpiled. It looks like Woodall and Phillips, was it not? So that's going to be a very pivotal play as he's sacked for about a 6-7 yard gain.
Mike, I tell you what, big play for the Frederick Bombers. You've got to give credit to a lot of kids. The secondary field position.
They'll take over 1st and 10 on their own 43 with the best field position they've had in a while. Gaston looking over the defense. Motion, as I believe it's probably going to be Marsh on the left side. Took one step, and that's real hard for that official to miss because he's standing about 4 inches from him.
I'll tell you what, that once again we start good for field position, Mike, and we're going to back the ball up 5 yards and start over on 1st and 50.
And that will move the ball back to around the 37-yard line, Bomber territory. Receivers are right and left, split backfield. Gaston handing up off. Now he throws across to Bolton. There's a flag on the play. The pass is complete, close to the first down. But the official on this side of the field throws a flag. It may be an illegal receiver downfield, and that's exactly what they call. Don't know who they called it on, but immediately when the ball was thrown, he threw the flag, and that's normally an illegal receiver across the line of scrimmage. Up on the clock yet. Now they do. It's 1st and 20. And Bombers moving backwards by their own mistakes rather than being stopped by the Bulldogs. Gaston looking it over. Comes outside the bin. He's at the 35, down to the 36, 37-yard line. As Allen, he's brought down there by Freeman, but the Bulldogs several times have had just an ankle, or the Bombers would have gone all the way.
That's right.
2nd and 15. As slot to the left, tight end right. Gaston looking over the defense. Gaston again pitches to Ben over the right. He goes to the 30, or to about the 30, we'll call that the 37-yard line, or make that the 40, 43-yard line as we check it now. 7 or the 43 there, so that's still going to bring up a 3rd, and let's call it 8, long 8. Gaston goes back to pass, going to be complete to Marshall. He gets away from one tackler down to the 40-yard line, and that was good individual effort as Gaston just stood up and threw it out to Marshall. Marshall was able to ward off the defender, and he was good for a 17-yard play. And when he caught that ball, he
did a little turn, spun right out of the tackle's arms and picked up the first down. Excellent job by Sidney throwing the ball to Marshall on the run.
Good play by Marshall then. Marshall not very big, but he was able to negotiate a much-needed 17 yards. Option play by Gaston as he takes it over the left after faking, and he will go ahead for good yardage. Again, one of those shoestring tackles. Gaston hadn't had the opportunity to run the ball a whole lot tonight. Bombers cross the 35 to the 34 and bring up a 2nd, and we'll call it a long 4, as the Bombers need to keep this drive going and go down and get some points. Gaston comes to his right to pass. It's going to be incomplete, and that will intended for Marshall as he curled back, and the ball was short. He dove for the crowd in the background hollering, "Go, go, go," and indeed the Bombers need to do that. As counterplay back to Isham, he goes straight forward. Good running room up to about the 25-yard line, and that will be good for the first down. As Gaston faked the pitch to the right and
ran into Chance Freeman, who felt that, I'll promise you.
Credit the offensive line up there. Chad Stone and Wilson there doing a good job. Again on the handoff up the middle on the option as he leaves it in the stomach of the first back through, and that's Isham again. And we'll see where they spot this one. Looks like they're going to give him, let's give him 4-yard line, somewhere between the 22 and 23 there. And it's going to bring up a 2nd down. Let's call it a long 6. Pitch back to Ben. He's going, and there's a flag on the play. Ben has some running room and will be tackled down around the 20, but the referee immediately threw a flag, and when you see one that quick, that's probably going to be against the offense. As they call timeout, 2:54 left in this 3rd quarter, and the Sulphur Bulldogs are pointing over at the Bombers like there might have been some illegal movement on the line of scrimmage.
Mike Holding against the Bombers there. Once again, Bombers moving the ball well, but the penalties have sure been costly to them tonight.
Well, we're here. Bombers trying to keep this drive alive where they were able to stop the Sulphur Bulldogs on a 4th down play. Gaston looking over the defense, goes back to pass. Coming out to his right, throws down. It's going to be intercepted around the 20. There's a flag on the play. Comes back to his 25 and across the 25 to the 28, and we can only hope that maybe there's a break on the Bombers, for the Bombers. Bombers clapping their hands. And it looks like, as the referee gives us the signal, looks like it's going to be unsportsmanlike conduct, roughing the passer. And rather than that being an interception, that should be enough to give them a first down, although it was a 2nd and 15. Don't remember for sure if that's automatic first down or not. I think they may have to, we'll see what they do here. We'll just wait and see. Whether they mark it from the point of the infraction or they mark it from the line of scrimmage, that will be the difference in the call. So that's a break for the, looks like for the Bombers, and let's see what they're doing here. Now they begin to mark it in the right direction. Sulphur Mint, they're going to mark against the Bombers. Going to be, well, we'll see where they spot it down before we call it, Alan.
You bet, Mike. First down.
Okay, it will be a first down. 2:30 left in third quarter. They needed 15. He marked off 15. They signal first down. And the Bombers get a big break there on the interception. They had the ball down around the 15-yard line. Receiver to the right, hand off to Ice, straight up the middle. 10, 15, 5, touchdown.
And I don't see any flags, Mike.
Once again, the Sulphur Bulldogs, after a big break, were able to take the ball, capitalize on that break, and take it in for a touchdown. And the Frederick Bombers return the favor.
That's right, Mike. I tell you what, they came down the field. They had a lot of penalties called against them. The one big roughing the passer call was to their advantage. It was about time that the Sulphur Bulldogs made one of the mistakes to the Frederick Bombers.
Phillips is there to do the snapping on the extra point. Bombers leading 13-7. Carpenter holding, and Martin will do the kicking. There's a snap, good snap. Ball's down, kicks up, looks good. It is good. And the Bombers will take a 14-7 lead with 2:19 left to go in the third quarter. Let's take a minute timeout. You're listening to Bomber Football on KYB 95.9. Roughing the passer was able to get the ball off to Kevin Isham, and he goes 15 yards for the touchdown. William Martin kick is good, and the Bombers will be kicking off with 2:19 left in the third quarter. After Sulphur got the break, they scored. Bombers got a break, they scored. We don't need to let the Sulphur Bulldogs run this back and even it up, though.
No, Mike, Bombers are in control. They need to keep it that way.
Bolton has the ball at the 40, and he's approaching it. And Cole and number 4, Chance Freeman, will be returning. He falls down around the 24-yard line. And somewhere between 23 and 24, it looks like, as they spot it. And indeed, they put it around the 24. That's where his knee touched. And he was about to be tackled and slipped down trying to cut back. The Sulphur Bulldogs have, in that second and third quarter, just ground a lot of time off the clock. And we'll see what they do here in a power I formation. They hand off straight up the middle, and that's a 7 Hobbs. And he is met immediately in there by, I believe that was Cheyenne Clark, as she shot the gap from his linebacker position and nailed him, Alan.
You bet, Mike. Good job coming up
at the about the 24-yard line, just inside the 24. 1:29 in the third quarter as Cleek Cole looks over his backfield, the reverse, as number 21 looks deep, running with the ball now, back up the middle, and he's going to be tackled right around the line of scrimmage and might give him a yard. This time, number 21, Reggie Dixon, was not open as Hilburn was back there protecting right where he should be, and he had to run it. They're going to be close to a penalty here. Receiver to the right and the left, one back in the backfield as Cole goes back to pass. Now it's quarterback draw, and he's going to be stopped short in there by Shea Woodall on a fine tackle as he went on the quarterback draw, and he'll bring up a fourth down, and that's going to be no gain.
Well, I tell you what, Mike, the last 2 or 3 plays where you've had to really be impressed with the Bomber defense. They've turned it up a notch and look like the #1 team that they're ready to be.
Good individual plays by Woodall and Clark on the right back-to-back, and Bombers don't need to jump here as it's going to be a punting situation. It goes over the head of the punter, and Bombers racing back there. He's going to have a chance to kick, and he gets off a great kick. And, it's going to roll to the 30, 40 down to the 25-yard line. And I tell you what, you talked about a great individual effort. The ball went over the punter's head. The Bomber's had on a return. He goes back and amidst the Bombers, kicks it on the side of his foot from his 10, and it goes all the way to the 25-yard line.
Tell you what, Mike, Lady Luck lives.
As the Bulldogs needed a lot of yardage, the ball went over the punter's head, and he was able to take it from about his 10 and on the run, kick a side-winding kick that went all the way down to the 25, 51-yard kick. 54-yard kick.
It would be a good game coming in here tonight, and I surely don't think anybody has been disappointed.
Bombers leading 14-7 at first tick of the fourth quarter. There's the option play to Isham, and he goes to 35 and then all the way out to the 40, and one step, folks, and he is gone.
I'll tell you what,
One
Mike,
step.
it has happened time and time and time again. Just one ankle away from a touchdown, and Sulphur has just reached out, got a hand, looked like right on the tip.
And you talked about a shoestring. That was a shoestring tackle. He had been gone for 6. Brings up a 1st and 10 from the 40. 11:37 left in the fourth quarter. Hand off to, I believe that's Ben, as he goes over the right side and then cross back over, trying to come back to the left, and let's give him 2 yards, a long 2, short 3.
He intended to go and picked up 2 yards.
Ball up to the 43. Bombers leading 14-7. 2nd and a long 7 as Clarence Allen comes in motion on the option. Ben comes around to his left and will be brought down around the 50-yard line. And depending where they mark it, it's going to be, looks like it should be enough for first down. Let's look at the spot first.
You bet, Mike. Their spot, the ball was just, first down was just on the Bomber side of the 50. They made it just about a foot across, be enough for the
in and led the sweep to the left and helped get that first down. But it would be 1st and 10, the ball just across the 50-yard line in Sulphur Bulldog territory. There's the option play as Gaston takes it out of Ben's stomach and tries to go around right. And had he been able to pitch, he might have been able to do something, but it was defense very, very well. Give him
Dirk Mott, they can blow people off the line. It's very